Good evening, everyone. Andal Star Saber here. Tonight we're going to do another arena match. We're going to revisit the Fleet arenas, show people a meta on meta team, get an idea of why we build the teams the way we build them for Fleet Arena, go into some of the strategy and the mentality that goes into these battles, and help you to achieve a winning victory. Now, of course, um, to really get the top spot, there's very little you can do if you don't have this MVP. That's the Millennium Falcon. It's, of course, a legendary ship. It is only available if you also work on your bounty hunters. So that includes your Houndstooth. I highly recommend you build the ship to 7-star regardless, and to gear up Bossk as much as you can. The ship is fantastic. The character is fantastic. No reason not to work towards this ship. Slave 1 similar. Most of you probably have a Gear 12 Boba Fett. This should be a no-brainer. Build it up to 7-star. It'll be excellent for you. Xanadu Blood, very similar. Cad Bane is the character you need to have in it. Now, notice mine is not quite fully ability up yet. I do not have the Cloak and Dagger ability, but for the most part, excellent ship. I do not use it on my team, but it is a good ship to have, especially for your territory wars, your Grand Arena, on defense, things like that. And last but not least is the Egg 2000. You probably had Egg 88 for a while. Build that up too. Get it 7-star. 5 stars of all these bounty hunter ships will get you the 5-star Millennium Falcon. But obviously, it would behoove you eventually to get the 7-star ships so you get the 7-star Millennium Falcon, because I cannot overstate how important Millennium Falcon is to achieving victory in your ships arenas right now. Now, already mentioned, and very important, kind of an MVP anyway, Houndstooth. The beauty of this ship is based on the fact that as what will happen is you will throw out these missiles. You'll have a taunt for 2 turns, and it has a self-dispel with the basic attack and the Transition Barricade. This causes protection up as you take hits. The Houndstooth is effectively the Enfys Nest of the ship category, plus it has a taunt. So it's an excellent ship. Highly important that you have that. Next to the MVPs for your team is Cassian's U-Wing. Cassian's U-Wing specifically you need to be maxed out is Rebel Recon. You need its reinforcement ability brought in, because that allows you to dispel all buffs on your enemies, inflict defense down, and defense down. Dispel all buffs is the key, because what will happen is Millennium's Falcon uses the Watch This ability, which creates outmaneuver. Can't be countered, can't be targeted. It's basically like a modified stealth, even better than stealth typically. And having the ability to clear that buff using Cassian's U-Wing can very quickly win the fight for you. Next, an MVP to have, because it gives you some options, is the Phantom 2. Phantom 2, again, the reinforcement ability. The reinforcement ability specifically that allows you to have the reinforcement capital ship ability cooldown increased by 1. So basically you can launch Phantom, and then the next turn the capital ship goes, you can launch another fighter. Now, it doesn't necessarily dictate which one you call next. It's based on the scenario, but you definitely want to have that reinforcement ability. Plus, Phantom's a very hard hitter. Crits a lot, high damage. You can get 100,000+ crits on some of the special abilities there. Another one I recommend with this, because Phoenix is very accessible, is also Ghost. Ghost is also a nice reinforcement. Adds target lock and a lot of critical chance down, a lot of debuffs in general. And she also slows things. Not a reinforcement I call all the time. The matches are usually quite short. Very good to have. Now, one thing that's very good in your starting lineup, if you can build it, is Biston's U-Wing. Biston's U-Wing comes down to a couple abilities that really make it stand out. It's going to be Biston's Tactical Comms, gives you turn meter. Whenever you basically kill an opponent. Um, and also the assault plan, which also gives more turn meter. So these are some things. Another nice thing about this, it's stealths. It's basics when stealth cannot be evaded. Um, so it's very handy. And yeah, it also has more critical damage and ignores defense. So it's very hard hitting ship. Um, this stealth ability applies target lock as well and can create a fence up. You want to keep this in the front line if you have it built up, is the bottom line here. Now, the last ship you use, there's a lot of options available. The most easily accessible one is Biggs. Now, Biggs with reinforcement maxed gives you an automatic taunt because Biggs will inflict a target lock on the opponent, which is what triggers the taunt on Big Ship. And it can serve as a secondary tank for you. That's one good option. Another one that I'm working towards is the Ebon Hawk. Again, you'll need the reinforcement ability maxed, and that's specifically because it dispels all buffs on the enemies. And it also has a lot of damage it creates. It has a lot of potency. It has a lot of buffs. It's a fantastic ship. You really got to build it up, and I haven't done that yet. And I may get to it eventually. It's not a huge priority because I'm not losing on offense. Another one I see a lot of is Lando's Millennium Falcon. Very good as your last reinforcement if you have a battle that goes really super long. If you have all the abilities maxed out, you can really cause a lot of damage and you can turn the tide of the battle very quickly. Another one that I see very commonly is Sunfax Geonosia's Starfighter. A lot of you during the Geo era are familiar with this. Another nice thing about it is that taunt will go up and you can actually run interference with your Millennium Falcon being targeted if you're Sunfax out there, because any buffed up enemy, which the metas are very frequently buffed, will have that happen. Now, the ship you want to build eventually is Home 1. I actually run it at Gear 11, so my Akbar isn't fully geared. I often lose the race for capital ships. Not the end of the world. With the Millennium Falcon team, it's actually pretty easy to win, even if you don't have the fastest of the ships. Another thing I've seen occasionally is Thrawn, but that throws a whole strategy out of whack. Don't ask me what that strategy is precisely, because I know a guy who does it in my shard, but I can't explain how it works. So those are some key options there. So now I'm going to go ahead into Fleet Arena, show you one matchup here, show you some of the teams here. I believe we have one that has not in range, but I'll show you in the ranks real quickly, because we do have someone who actually achieves a little bit more, and it is without Home 1. Yeah, it's actually, we have a couple. We have this one here, not the most common one. Where is he? We have someone who, I guess they dropped a few spots here. Oh yeah, B.A. Aggie here. This is a member of my shard here. This is the team he runs. Don't ask me how it works. Once again, I don't think it does as well on defense, so that's why I wouldn't recommend it. I would highly recommend Home Run running this team. But and I'll show you how it works, because it's really quite simple here. So the one I'm going to go up against is Kaladi Ola. As you can see by the power levels, it's a pretty dangerous opponent. As you can see, as am I. But it does have faster Home 1, I believe. Does have faster most of the starter ships. So it can be a very challenging battle if the RNG doesn't favor you and causes you to lose Biston early. This is why you don't want to put Biston in your front lineup until you've really geared and sped him up as much as possible, because you can see they've had a chance to go, but they didn't have a lot of assist turns or anything like that, so they didn't get to finish me, and therefore I can use my Houndstooth taunt and basically move this forward. So looks like we're not going to have one of those bad RNG phases. I don't mind. That makes my life a little easier. Now, see how I have breach on the Biston's U-Wing here? There's no real way to clear that. And while that's there, Houndstooth will have a perma-taunt on. So I want to get rid of that breach, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Ackbar's heal to clear that up there. Now that I have Biston's U-Wing going again, might be able to kill off Houndstooth here. No guarantees. That would require an assist from Falcon. Didn't happen. Not the end of the world. Okay, they brought in a Biggs, so now you have 2 taunts available on screen. They didn't quite finish my Houndstooth. That's good news. That makes things a little more predictable. Now you got all these things here. You don't have anything stopping Cassian's U-Wing from clearing the taunt. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out Cassian's U-Wing. And that's going to clear all the buffs out in the field. Beautiful. So now it's real simple. If you take out that opposing team's Falcon, it's done deal. So you target their Falcon, you use your third ability, which is Gorilla Strike. You select your own Falcon, and many times you will take that out in one shot. And then it's left with whatever's left in the field at this point. You can pretty much work this. They don't have a quick way to kill your Houndstooth. That's why Millennium Falcon is so important. It can move a lot of those buffs just by its basic abilities. Now, if you get like this, Biston's U-Wing is very good in stealth. Infiltration Tactics allows you to put another ship in stealth. So if you have Cassian's U-Wing and Biston still in the field, highly recommend that, because what will happen is when Biston's U-Wing gets a turn, when Biston uses this new move that normally brings it into stealth, which we'll see in a minute here. Now, you always want to use that AoE if you can, if you have at least 2 ships in the field, because that will cause 2 of your ships to fire. If Houndstooth's one of them, it'll clear a buff. If Houndstooth isn't one of them, it's usually some rebels, and rebels often cause other rebels to fire while Millennium Falcon is in the field. So very handy to fire off that second ability. So now, as you can see, Biston has offense up. So if Biston assists, it'll do even more damage. It's a beautiful thing in stealth. Okay, probably finish the Houndstooth there. So now what we got is Biggs, but then again we have Phantom in the field. This may make this battle last a little longer, because Phantom means that another ship is sure to follow behind it if I don't kill them quickly. I'm going to bring mine out as well, because that will give me a little bit more options to quickly clear the field, take away their Biggs. You can use the target lock and clear that Phantom's buffs. Dodge there. That's another reason Phantom's kind of handy. It dodges a lot of abilities, but they couldn't prevent another reinforcement. So as you can see here, that was a pretty painless battle. Millennium Falcon coupled with your starting lineup and having your Cassian's U-Wing were kind of the key factors to that. The rest weren't given a lot to do there, and most of the time, sometimes if I go first, I even get to kill the starting lineup before they get a reinforcement. Doesn't happen super often, but it's nice when it does. But definitely when Cassian's U-Wing enters the field, the game gets very easy from there. So that's a nutshell of how to do a meta versus meta arena match. I hope this was helpful. I hope those who are struggling in arena and are wondering how to make their arena teams better, I'll definitely work towards the Falcon, but if you can't, you're just going to have to work around that some of those Millennium Falcon mechanics. The top spot's not easy without it. If you have any questions, please ask in line Discord. And that's all I have for this video for now. We'll see you next time, and Star Saber out.